Get ready, Staten Island.
Tonight, the Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars with first pitch at 6:30. Thursday, it's a doubleheader starting at 4 p.m. with Jewish Heritage Night. As for this game, the Ferry Hawks will play as the Staten Island Menches. Friday at 7 p.m., it's soccer night and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day and the kids run around the bases.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Looking to see what's happening around your home? Ring's Battery Doorbell helps you track packages and see who's at your door in real time. The Outdoor Cam Plus protects your yard at night with a wide field of view and clearer Retinal 2K video. Or upgrade to 4K cameras and doorbells with Retinal Vision for ultra-clear zoom and detail. Your door, your yard, your home. With Ring, it's protected. Shop cameras, doorbells, and more at ring.com now.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I know your name is Rita, 'cause your perfume is smelling sweet. Since when I saw you down on the floor. Guitar.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, President Trump keeping an eye on Iran in the Situation Room. And, of course, he turns 80 this Sunday. It's Flag Day, appropriately, and it's President Trump's birthday. And he was asked, what's your message on your birthday? What do you want? Take a listen.
That's my second question. Besides peace in the Middle East, what do you wish yourself for your birthday?
For my birthday? Well, I'll go a step bigger. Peace for the world, okay? Peace for the world. Middle East, yes. Peace for the whole world, yeah.
That's a good answer. And hopefully we can get at least peace against Iran. Let's start with that, right? That is a big enough one. That's like 90% of the cake right now, at least in the forefront. In the meantime, you guys, lots of big news coming out here on the Rita Cosby Show. Just in the last little bit, Moshe Mandawi, he led those pro-Palestinian riots at Columbia University. He has received an order to be deported to Jordan. So I say good news and good riddance. Also, the other big story, too, is that pro-Palestinian activists, they have been accused of an intimidation campaign against the University of Michigan officials. And this is a whole bunch of them that were accused of conspiring to run a criminal intimidation campaign against the University of Michigan while they were trying to force the school to cut financial ties to Israel. They have been exposed and they have now been indicted. So good news on that front. And speaking of those who have been opposing Israel and have been coddling terrorists, let's get to Adam Holloway. And of course, he is in New Jersey. Now, Adam Holloway, this is the guy who just won the primary there in the New Jersey district, Passaic, Bergen, that area. It's unbelievable that this guy, you got Graham Plattner in Maine, you got Talafrico, as I call him, in Texas, and then you got Adam Holloway in New Jersey. And this is the guy who is tied to the guy who was the mastermind behind the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the Blind Sheikh. And President Trump was asked about him today, and he said he just can't believe what's going on in the Democratic Party, that they'd have somebody like this. Yeah, admitted he knocked down the World Trade Center, and this guy who's now running, he just won the primary recently, he voluntarily testified in the trial for the Blind Sheikh. Sign me up. Oh, yeah, I was in the car when he talked about jihad all the time. And oh, yeah, he was behind the 1993 bombing. Oh, but he's such a nice guy. What? Was he misunderstood? Did he just happen to be in the car and overhear those things and he thinks jihad's like the name of a song or something? I mean, is there something that this guy doesn't get? Or is there something that the voters who pick this guy don't get? It's shocking that he's there. And then you got, of course, Graham Plattner. We called that race last night. I mean, it happened. We all heard it together. I couldn't believe it that I had to announce that that guy has won the primary there in Maine. And then you've got Talarico down there, who's also said some really crazy things. The 6 genders, the guy who says that God is non-binary. These are the candidates this year. And the stakes couldn't be higher because think about it. if, as we were just talking about President Trump, thank goodness he's the guy at the helm at this time. Imagine if Kamala Harris had won. It'd be like a free-for-all in America. It'd be overrun with illegal immigrants. Remember, it was about 20 million that came in under Joe Biden. It was come one, come all under Joe Biden. And Kamala Harris would have absolutely continued that policy because she thought it was such a great thing. And as we've seen from the way that they have been villainizing ICE agents and the way that they've been turning a blind eye and coddling so many people that are in, like, say, the detention center there in Newark. And when you look at all of those things, they're like, oh, what's the problem? We've got to make sure that they have a nice cozy bed and make sure they have tea and crumpets. They're like bending over backwards for illegal immigrants. And for some reason, they don't seem to be valuing American citizens that way, or at least law enforcement that way. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And case in point, all you have to do is look at what is going on in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. This is really troubling. They've had all these protests and riots in the last few days. And when I look at it as like a warning to the United States as what could happen here if you had even more chaos than what Joe Biden brought in with that wide open southern border. Because if you look at a lot of parts of Europe, it is overrun with illegal immigration. And it's been this come one, come all, not checking, not verifying, not seeing if they have a criminal history. And all of that has opened up a very dangerous door. And there was a case recently in Northern Ireland where a Sudanese immigrant suddenly went on a stabbing spree and he was trying to behead somebody in the middle of the street in Belfast. Can you imagine how frightening is that? It's a guy who tried to claim asylum years ago, and suddenly people in the community saw this happening. They stopped it, thank goodness. The guy survived, but he lost an eye. And has had some very, very serious health issues. You can imagine what this, happened and how terrifying it comes after there was a guy in London who recently went on a stabbing spree and was going after Jewish citizens. It's really, really frightening. And if you've been to London recently, I haven't been in a few years, but I remember the last time I went, it was like, definitely there was a Muslim invasion. I mean, I didn't even recognize London. My parents met in London. And so for me, it's like, oh, my goodness, it doesn't even look like the London through the years that I have been to. It's a very different place. And Bill O'Reilly, I remember talking with him a couple days ago, and he was telling me they have 60 Sharia courts in England, 60 Sharia courts, Sharia law. So if they have some problem and you espouse Sharia, you don't go to a regular court, you go to a Sharia court. In London, they've set up this whole separate system. In Paris, we know they have some no-go zones that only Muslims can go to. I mean, that's a very frightening situation. They've surrendered their country. And that's what's happening in Belfast now. And people are very upset. So that's why they've had riots and protests. Not that you want to see any damage or anything like that. But if you look at what's happened here, they are fed up and saying this illegal immigration cannot happen. We cannot have these people with criminal histories just roaming the streets and endangering our citizens. Here's a little bit of the sounds from some of those protests, quote, riots there. It's getting a little crazy in Belfast. And earlier today, we were talking with Katie McFarland, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump. And she says it's clear that a message is being sent by folks who are just saying they cannot take it anymore. And she says Europe is really falling. Yeah, it is scary. Really, really scary. And sadly, it may get a lot worse before it gets better. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Jacqueline in Brooklyn on line 2. Jacqueline, it's great to hear from you.
Hi, Rita. It's nice to speak with you again.
By the way, I don't know if you heard. I hope you did. Last night, we were so blessed to hear from Norman, who we haven't heard from in the longest time.
Yes.
And it brought tears to our eyes. And a number of people said, where is Jacqueline? So
Yes.
you are missed and you are loved.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I was going to mention this last but not least. I do wish Norman a full and speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
And I would also like to thank Joaquin, who's always been kind to me, and in answer to his question of why I haven't called in. It's been 8 months since October, and it's primarily because I felt betrayed by this station for having opinions on the New York City mayoral race that were completely opposite from that of the station. And I felt betrayed by a couple of people who I thought were my friends.
Well, hang on one second, Jacqueline. So what do you mean by betrayed? I'm a little confused, but go ahead. Because
I don't know if this is the air, but I was basically censored and shut out. My calls were not taken since October because of my very strong opinions on the New York City mayoral race. And
well,
to me, that's not free
Jacqueline,
speech.
hold on
That's
one
censored.
second. Hold on one second. Just all I can speak to is my show. So, and you know, you've always had a forum here on my show, and you always will. So I don't know, I don't want to get into, I don't know who called where or what, because I'm not even sure what you're talking about right now. But as far as this show, you are always welcome. You always have a voice. And quite frankly, I relish different opinions. I'm not sure if yours was different than mine. But I relish it, and you are deeply missed. So it makes me so happy to hear from you.
Thank you for that, Rita. And I think you and I were actually on the same page for quite a long time. But toward the end, when it got down to the nitty-gritty and it got down to a month before the race, I think things did change a bit. And I understand that. Hey, I don't own the radio station, so...
By the way, nor do I. Nor do I. Nor do I. Nor do I. And I think, and let me just say one thing, Jacqueline, because I don't want to get into the weeds too much. I'm not too sure your thoughts, but because boy, it feels like there's been so much that's happened since then, just in the world. But all I can say is that, my position from what I gather from a lot of people is they love New York. They just want the best for New York. And that's the most important thing. So let's move on and talk about Graham Plattner, because I believe you want to talk about that. So let's go to that.
I did, but the first thing I wanted to start out with was wishing my favorite president a very happy and blessed birthday. As far as Graham Plattner is concerned, I don't know why people are surprised. My opinion on Susan Collins, she's really a rhino. She's not much of a Republican. So although he may be the worst of the two to choose from, I don't think there's really a big difference between the two of them.
Oh, there is. Oh, Jacqueline, here's where I disagree on this one, because there definitely is. I mean, she has voted about, I think it's like 99%. And in fact, even President Trump, I don't know if you heard this today. Yes, she is moderate. But that's the way it works in Maine. At this point right now, that's the kind of Republican that would get elected and reelected in Maine. And to me, boy, the stakes are so high, Jacqueline. I mean, this guy, I cannot believe this Graham Plattner. I mean, as a woman, Jacqueline, I find the comments that he made about, okay, if women, if you're an adult and you got raped, basically buck up. I mean, it's appalling. And the Nazi tattoo, I don't buy any of this. And the sexting, I mean, the fact he was sexting people and he's still on in his little towel on the Kick app. He is still on to this day. That is his profile. He's still on it. He's been on it, I think it's 3,000 days. That's a lot of time. And he hasn't released any of the messages. And in fact, tonight, I was watching John Fetterman, Democrat, and also John Kennedy, Republican. And both of them separately were calling for the same thing, saying, let's see what you got, Graham Plattner. Let's see what your text messages are. Show them to the Maine public, show them to the American public. Obviously, Maine voters especially deserve to know, but all Americans should know. If you're about to get elected to an important position, put it out there, because he keeps claiming, oh, I knew that they were of age. Do you buy that, Jacqueline? I mean, to me, that's the problem. The stakes are so high, and you can't have somebody like that in office.
I think you're absolutely correct. And I think you summed it up pretty good when you said before that a lot has happened in the past 8 months, but at the same time, not much has changed. It's okay for the Democrats to get away with everything and anything, but the Republicans are held to a completely different standard. So that's why I don't have a lot of love for Susan Collins, and I'm very black and white when it comes to politics. I think people, if they are going to call themselves a Republican, they need to be a Republican 1,000%. They need to stand behind one another, support one another, and fight all of this nonsense that goes on with the Democrats. And that has not happened, and I don't see it changing at any point in the near future.
The problem is, even though, like you just said, she is definitely, as I bring up, a moderate. That is what works in Maine. And she keeps winning elections there. I mean, at one point, I think she was down, I know it was definitely double digits, once or twice at least, in the polls, and then she won. And the problem is Maine is, some people even call it a blue state. I think it's more of a purple state, but I think it would be hard at this point, based on some of the metrics of the state, for a diehard straight line Republican. And I guess President Trump's comment today, and he even said this from the Oval Office, Jacqueline, it was interesting because you could tell, he's not 100% thrilled with Susan Collins, but he feels like, he said she's sane, she shows up to vote. Sometimes against him, but he said still overall, she is very well respected. So you could tell that he realizes this is who the choices are. And to me, if the choice is between her and Graham Plattner, we got to just pray that the guy with the Nazi tattoo does not win. And that's what and can you imagine if they flip that seat? That could also maybe change the course of the Senate, too, to go into Democratic hands, and that could be a mess. Jacqueline, we love you. I got a hard break, but you got to call back again. It's always great. You are always welcome. 1-800-848-9222.
Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com. Request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
Patty cake, baker's man.
If your child has moderate to severe eczema that's not well controlled with prescription topicals, their itchy skin can feel uncomfortable when playing with others. Dupixent, dupilumab, helps kids as young as 6 months stay ahead of their eczema.
Patty cake, baker's man.
So they can have clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Dupixent helps them heal their skin from within, and it's not a cream, steroid, or immunosuppressant. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor.
Patty cake, baker's
Dupixent helps your child feel the heal. Ask your child's eczema specialist. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
From the best-selling author of The Terminal List comes The Fourth Option, Jack Carr's new thriller series with co-author M.P. Woodard. When the justice system fails, former Navy SEAL Chris Walker delivers his own brand of outlaw justice in this action-packed audiobook. Read by Ray Porter, The Fourth Option by Jack Carr and M.P. Woodard is available now on Spotify or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Your team just added its 67th AI tool, and also your 67th security blind spot. The good news? The Vanta agent works like a GRC engineer in the background, finding every app your team uses, scoring the risk, and drafting fixes for you. Vanta is the platform used by over 16,000 fast-moving companies like Ramp, Cursor, and Harvey, who are shaping the future with AI and staying ahead of AI risk. Get started at Vanta.com.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And when we come back, we will continue talking, of course, about Iran, so much more. And let's see what happens with the Knicks. I'm praying. I am praying big time, guys.
If data management is slowing down your business, you need the Intuit ERP. If one entity is here, and one here, and one here, and one here, you need the Intuit ERP. If scaling your business feels like starting over, you need the Intuit ERP. Intuit Enterprise Suite is the AI-native ERP solution that consolidates, migrates, and automates, all in one place. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Fox News is now streaming live on Fox One. When it matters most, turn to the voices you trust. We go beyond the headlines, bringing you the stories you won't hear anywhere else. Live coverage, sharp analysis, real perspective. At home or on the go. Stay connected when it counts. Stream Fox News on Fox One. Download today.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
The most memorable gifts aren't found, they're made. Zazzle is a custom marketplace where you pick any product, a mug, a card, a tote, a phone case, and make it personal. A photo, a name, an inside joke. The kind of gift that actually fits the person. That's what 30 million customers have been coming back to Zazzle for over 20 years to find. Right now, save 25% on your first order at Zazzle.com. That's Zazzle.com. Make it zamazing.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight, President Trump says we snuck in tons of barrels of oils from Iran's watch. Take a listen to what the president said a little bit ago.
Breaking news.
And all I can say, here it is.
We are the New York Knicks. 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 Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York.
Unbelievable. Just a moment ago, the New York Knicks won Game 4. Now it is 3-1, and it was down to the wire. Literally within a few seconds, they made the last basket, and it was 107-106 against the San Antonio Spurs. So 3 games for the New York Knicks in the NBA championship, 1 game for the San Antonio Spurs. Now they go back to Texas. Big game on Saturday, but the Knicks could win there. We'll see. But now they have 3-1. At one point, by the way, in this game, you could tell I'm all caught up in this. At one point, they were down 29 points. That is unbelievable. It did not look like it was going to be a good night for the New York Knicks. Of course, they lost the last one there at MSG. And all I can say is New York is going to go crazy tonight because now the New York Knicks, literally down to the wire, have won Game 4. 3 games now to 1, so they've got 2 games up on the San Antonio Spurs. Also a very good team. And in fact, it looked like they were going to win it tonight. And then New York turned it around. And it is 107-106. That's the final score for Game 4. And boy, the New York Knicks are just 1 game away from winning it all. And by the way, in the audience, you could see like the whole crowd was going crazy. Taylor Swift was there, Timothy Chalamet. You could see Larry David. You could see Jerry Seinfeld, Will Chamberlain. A lot of good basketball legacy was there in the audience. I wonder how much they paid for this game. Remember, some of the front row seats were like $100,000 for the last game. Can you imagine what the next game's going to be? Because it could be the winning game. And of course, they've got the game there. Then they could potentially come back to New York. We'll see where it goes. I just hope they win it in San Antonio. I love you, Reggie. I know you called in from Texas. You know how much I love Texas. But I'm rooting for the New York Knicks. I think we need to play that New York Knicks song again because they pulled it out.
We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks.
actually, they are back on track now, 3-1. And this was one of the most unbelievable games. I was watching some of the final moments. 107-106, go New York, go. It's going to be a big party in the Big Apple tonight. And let's go to your calls, guys. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Joaquin on line 3. Joaquin, before we get to politics and the world, what do you make of the New York Knicks?
Oh, that's a fantastic thing to hear. Even though I live in Pennsylvania right now, I'm originally from New York, so.
I remember that. That's why I know you got like a lot of New York loyalty, my friend. So, I mean, this is amazing. It actually really looked like they were going to get clobbered tonight. I mean, at one point they were down quite a bit. And the fact that they made an unbelievable turnaround and got it down to the wire. I think it was like 5 or 6 seconds left, and they got a basket. And that just changed everything. And then there was only like about a second left. No time for the other team to score. That is just incredible. I mean, this is like basketball gold tonight, Joaquin.
That's fantastic. You know, and also, too, I want to thank Jacqueline for calling in. It was a pleasure to hear from her. And
Me
I'm glad
too.
to hear that she's in good health.
By the way, me too. Yeah. You're the one, right? I think who brought it up. Was it last night, Joaquin?
Yes, I did.
I missed her, and I love Jacqueline. And so she's fantastic. I was so happy to hear from her. And she just sounds terrific. And obviously cares so much about this country. I hope we hear back from her again. Yeah. She's the best.
I'm as hardcore, maybe hardcore than her. And you know something, I have to say, it was interesting that you had me follow up actually after her and Robert, because me and Robert are on the same page as far as this goes. And you could probably start referring to me as Wingnut Job Joaquin. Now, one thing,
Never.
One comment I do want to make is that King John Sobieski is probably spinning in his grave right now, looking at the Islamic invasion that's happening in Western civilization, because he stopped it once. You know?
Yes, exactly. And let's not forget, many centuries ago, the great Polish king Jan Sobieski stopped the Muslim invasion of Europe and turned the tide. And you're right. When you look at what's going on, like in Belfast, how frightening is it that they've sort of lost control of their country? And the thought of these like Sharia courts, that they would actually give up like their court system. And when I heard this was, maybe about a year ago when we first started hearing about these no-go zones in France, Joaquin, where the police are afraid to go, the regular police. So if you're part of the, of the Sharia group, you're okay to go there. But if can you imagine surrendering your country like that? And that's why America has to wake up. And I'm sorry, I keep looking at a lot of these things that are going on. And you've got this Adam Holloway who testified for the blind sheikh. You've got the guy El Sayed in Michigan, Abdul Al Sayed, who's embracing, Hassan Piker and all these others and bashing Israel every step of the way. You have Mandani in New York. You've got obviously Graham Plattner as Democratic Socialist towing the party line, bashing Israel. So I mean, but it's a scary trend, especially when I looked at as I brought up, especially New Jersey, what happened here in New York. You look at Michigan. We're seeing a troubling trend, Joaquin.
Yeah, and something, before I get to the main point, I will say one more thing. Just imagine any woman married to a Muslim in these countries where they have these Sharia courts, she's going to be forced to have to go to the Sharia court and not be able to take it to another, to a regular court. So that's even worse for women yet.
Yeah,
but
because
now,
they don't seem to have a lot of respect for women, that's for sure.
Right. But something, as far as Iran goes, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I really think that there are many in the establishment of our own government that want this Iran war to fail. They want Trump to fail. They've done their best to take him out at every stage of the game. And to make him look bad here is what's going to turn the country to the left. And so I think that he's getting bad advice from all over the place, because I'm really surprised, when he says now, that there's not going to be regime change. I've watched videos, online social media of Iranians saying that they were grateful for the bombings and that, America was, going after Iran. So now whatever happened to arming the people, and if this fails, if this regime isn't overthrown, basically they're going to make Trump look like Obama, who let the Iranian people down the first time around, when he sent the pallets of cash and stopped the Iranian revolution at that time. And I'm hearing nothing about the people being armed to be able to go out, So regime change has to be on the table for this. Otherwise, this problem is only going to be delayed until somebody else gets in there and gets back on the same page with the Iranian establishment. And so this whole thing is just, I think it's being orchestrated by people inside that are pulling the levers and giving Trump bad advice, on how to deal with this.
And I think what's happening, Joaquin, I think he's getting mixed advice. I think he's getting some people who are saying to him, you don't need regime change, just move on and just kind of leave it and call victory. But it's not a victory because Iran will continue. I mean, he's definitely decimated, and he's definitely done more, I will say, by far than any American president. And I will give him an incredible amount of credit for that. But he himself knows the job is not done yet because he, as we heard, even from General Punaro earlier and General Keane, and others that have communication with the president about this matter, they all kind of say there's like 20 to 25% still sort of left on the table. And maybe, because the Iranians have clearly shown their hand, this is definitely going to give an opportunity for President Trump to maybe get the remaining 20 to 25%. I give him credit that he's trying for peace, Joaquin. I really do, because, the difference between him and an Obama, I mean, Obama with the pallets of cash, Obama didn't take the fight to Iran. I mean, Obama just kind of kept sending him money. And meanwhile, President Trump is clearly backing this up with actions. He's not just saying, we need change. You need to come to the table. He's saying, or else. And he's clearly showing action. And I think right now he really has hit a brink where he's sort of like, you know what? I'm either going to pound you or you're coming to the table. He's pretty much making that point clear. So I think he's fed up and realizing that they are just buying for time. They're going to try to straggle it out, maybe hoping that maybe Congress might change hands, and then maybe his hands might be somewhat tied a little bit with Congress. So I think, whereas he said, I am going to do it right. So I still have incredible faith with President Trump. And I also give him incredible credit because he's done so much more than any other American president has. I mean, look what he did in June. Sending in the B-2 bombers. That was extraordinary and a long time coming. But I hear what you're saying. I'm not happy if this regime stays in power because I agree with you. I think my personal thoughts, we absolutely need regime change. And we need to do something to get the good people there of Iran who can rise up when the moment is right. You first have to take out the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, because the problem is if you don't take them out, you can't have these people come out and just get slaughtered. That's the bottom line. And I think he's waiting for that right moment where that can happen. And I think he will go all the way. I hope he does, because I believe he firmly believes that, and he firmly wants incredible change. He understands the depth of this, but there's still a couple steps left. And it's interesting, Joaquin, earlier today, you probably heard, I was just playing a clip earlier of Katie McFarland. This is going to be, I think, a very bumpy ride the next few weeks, because Iran is going to try to do something back to America, whether it's even trying something domestically. I mean, we have to brace ourselves. You're dealing with a ruthless terrorist regime, and they're on their last gasps. And he just has to finish it off so they don't have any more gas, those leaders, the ruthless ones. So I think the next few weeks are going to tell all. That's my thoughts, Joaquin. And I'll never call you a wingnut. Yeah, you're maybe a nut, but you're not a wingnut. No, but nutty. I love that. A nutty, a good nut. Go ahead, Joaquin.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, actually, I had 2 pages of notes from Katz and Cosby because there was so much on there today.
Can you do a 2-sentence sum up?
Well, here's one I have right in front of me right now. It was about you when you asked General Arnold Pinero, why haven't we leveled the IRGC?
Yeah, did you like that? Because my feeling is that should have been day one. Should have been day one. And I think, the good news is I do think President Trump is realizing that. And the last thing he's going to want to do is not have full victory here, and a full resolution, because the last thing you can do is have Iran keep coming back to terrorize their neighbors and the United States, clearly, which they have been for 47 years. Joaquin, I love you. You're great. Thank you so, so much. Let's go to Tom in New Jersey on line 2. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, good evening, Rita. I want to tell you something. Between open borders and Muslims, the United States is in deep doo-doo, because what the Muslims are doing, including the open borders, but mostly with the Muslims, when they set up their mosque, it's really not like a mosque, it's a nest, because they're setting up their nests all over the United States. And what I mean by nests, inside of those nests are roaches. Do you know how hard it is to get rid of roaches? They're all over the place. We are in really big trouble because they do what they want, they say what they want, they act what they want, they do what they want, they have their own courts, they have no respect, just like roaches, and they're all over. All right?
Well, Tom, all I can say is,
we are in big trouble.
Tom, I will say, Tom, I'll agree with you that if they don't love this country, and I'm all for people who come to this country and love this country, whatever their faith is, but if they don't love this country and they're hanging out with questionable characters who say death to America or things like that, I agree with you on that point, that if they don't appreciate who we are, that is the bottom line. And they got to love this country, and they have to say it's American rules. You're on our soil, and you have to be cheering for America, not against America. Then the description's appropriate if that's how they feel. Tom, thank you very much. We're going to continue, everybody, with your calls. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Knoxville, Tennessee, where a woman there has been recognized for her work with veterans. Marilyn Childress was a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman, second class, and she earned the National Defense Medal for service during the Vietnam War. Last week, the mayor of Knoxville, Mayor Glenn Jacobs, recognized her, stating that her tremendous service to the local veterans community truly was exemplary. Over the years, he said that Marilyn has identified 230 veterans' grave markers in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, saying that thanks to her efforts, those graves are covered with a wreath on Wreaths Across America Day every year, something near and dear to her heart. And how beautiful to hear that, what she is doing to make sure those veterans are never, ever forgotten. And everybody support America's military and first responder heroes. The best way to do it is to donate to the best organization out there. They support our heroes and their families. Donate just $11 a month to the absolutely incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And let's continue with your calls, guys. Let's go to Mike on the Lower East Side, line 4. Go ahead, Mike.
I don't read it. You know, like I think Erdogan is pulling shots in Iran. He's making all the calls.
You mean Erdogan, the president of Turkey?
Yeah, Erdogan from Turkey. Yes, he's doing all the calls. There's no more regime there, so Erdogan wants to be head regime, the head of the snake. He's the last head of the snake standing. But Hitler made a Nazi special unit in Turkey during the Second World War. I mean, the Turks hate the Jews. Okay, so Israel should not be part of any deal, and I think Trump is putting his trust in Erdogan to fill the void in Iran, to be the new regime. And that's not going to work for Israel, because Israel has to protect its people, and Turkey hates Israel.
No, by the way, Mike, you're right on. I mean, there's a lot of these layers. I mean, first, look, obviously we got to get there first. And that's why I think the next few weeks are going to be bumpy. But it sounds like President Trump is really going to take the fight to Iran. Let's hope so, because boy, do they deserve it, this regime. Mike, thank you so much. And everybody, before we go, I am so happy for the New York Knicks, the biggest comeback. Here it is. They won Game 4. We got to celebrate New York and adopted New Yorkers.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves a match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.